human perspective.
Welcome to Unbiased and on the Fence. It's Shane, and it is the power of 8 at 8:12. 8:12. 8:12. That doesn't work, does it? How are you doing, Eileen? So glad you could join me.
This station is
A little more time to get in here.
Yeah, I hit the wrong button and it switched to the wrong screen, but you said you like the fact that we're a little bit behind and people
Yeah.
have time to get in here.
Yeah, I like starting a little after 8 anyway. It gives people more time to get in the chat room.
Yeah, it's nice having all these buttons on my mouse to be able to do stuff, but I bump them all the time now, I notice, so it's kind of funny. Okay.
You should show us sometime. You should put your camera down and show us what I bet it looks like an airplane cockpit.
It is. It's pretty interesting. Well, I'm almost pushing a button.
Oh, wow. That looks
Yeah.
very high tech.
Yeah, it's got a cord on it, but oh well. Can't have it all, I guess,
Eventually.
But I don't have
Eventually
to
it will
worry
air.
about the batteries in it, so that's nice. It won't
That's
ever go
cool.
out in the middle of a show or anything.
Yeah, I've got nothing. I've got nothing but a couple of rocks. There I've got my labradorite and I've got my purple argonite and I've got my amethyst and I've got my selenite.
Yeah.
I just love rocks. I've been a rock hound. This is a fluorite, but it's purple. It's got
Ah,
Saint Germain's color, the one that you do in the I am. Is that Saint Germain?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got the purple violet flame of Saint Germain in a fluorite, which is really super cool.
very
And then I
nice.
found this in Colorado. It's just smoky quartz. It's very grounding. So if I'm leading a meditation and I'm like a real rock hound, I just feel more grounded if I have my, rocks with me, some of them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to be more of a rock collector myself. I do have my Sedona rocks here and my Organite pyramid
Yep.
that Terry sent me, so yeah, I'm really happy.
Yep.
With what I have so far. And I've got Jose actually made me this little satchel. I think it's out of reach, but it's got a bunch of little rocks she sent me, so that's pretty cool. Let me actually.
Oh, cool. Her artwork has just been off the wall, off the charts lately.
On the
I got
wall.
to see a whole bunch of it. And I mean, oh my God, the colors.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to convince her to go into a local cafe and like say, can I do an art show on a wall? And then we'll split it 50-50, $40, $20, $50, $100.
Yeah.
And everything I get, I'll give you commission. Maybe 30% would be enough for a cafe to do an art show on. I don't know.
Cool. Yeah.
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 I think she's extremely talented. A lot of our listeners, a lot of our community are so talented.
Yeah, it's amazing whether it's art or music or whatever. It's like they all are tapping into that creative part of them. I was looking to see if Ronnie was in here yet. I wanted to double check that. I don't see her here.
Yeah,
yet.
Ronnie's usually the first one in.
Yeah.
She'll get in.
Yeah.
She'll get in.
Nicola from Australia was actually first. She was actually.
Oh, hey, Nicola.
in
Weren't you
here.
supposed to be? Wasn't Nicola going to be on the show last night, the call-in?
Yeah, for like 3 weeks now, she was gonna call in. Not like to make her feel bad or anything. Just
No,
it's just hard to
we're just
align.
like looking forward
Yeah.
to hearing you again. I think I heard her on one of your shows.
Yeah, she's been on
Yeah.
a couple of times. She had a hard
Yeah.
time using the new phone system, so it didn't jive with her phone that she was using or whatever. So
Okay. Yeah, I find that too, Nicola. I have Sprint, and when I go to the UK, I have all kinds of phone problems. It has something to do with the codes. Like, even though I'm in England, my phone wants to pretend like I'm still in America. So
Yeah.
I have to put in the codes for calling England while I'm in England as if I'm still in the USA. It's very confusing.
Wow, that is confusing. I remember it kind of
Yeah.
tripped me out at first when I first got a cell phone, and I would go to like travel from St. Louis to Tulsa, and then I didn't have to put the area code in. That's how it was right at first, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not like that anymore. I mean, it would like
Now
recognize.
you have to.
Yeah.
Do you have to do area codes still?
Yeah.
You don't
That's
have to do the
strange.
one anymore. Do you remember
No,
you
no
used to
one.
have to
No.
do the one to make a call, but now you don't have to anymore.
Yeah. I was just talking to my wife. I'm like, oh, you know what? I should make a comment about how, some people have we used to have those phones back in the day that would hang on your wall and it would have this super long coily
Yep,
cord and you try to walk all over
curly
your whole house
until it's
and it's
stretched out.
stretching out and people's trying to get in the refrigerator and navigate around it. And I thought, you know what? There's no way some people don't still have those because they're just too handy and it's a landline. You know what I
My
mean?
dad
So,
put like 20-foot cords on them, one
yeah.
upstairs and one downstairs. So they would go in all the rooms,
All right, fess up. Who still has one of those? Because I know that, people
rotary
still have
with
them.
the long curly pigtails. And now curly. I've actually got one because my dad worked for the phone company. Maybe I'll show it sometime. I've got one from 1920. So
Wow.
it's on a stick with a little black megaphone, and then
Yeah.
it has a little black like horn.
Yeah, that you
You
hold to
put
your
it
ear.
in your ear, and then it's got a
On the
clicker.
side,
It
it's got the
doesn't have a
thing that you.
dial. No, it goes click, 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 click. So maybe that was like 1915, 1918, because you had to go to the operator, and then
Right.
the
And then
operator
she'd
had
plug in
to
the
take the
cords.
wire. Yeah, and she'd plug you in to the
Isn't
house you want to talk to.
that trippy? I remember that. My memory of that is from watching Lassie as a little kid. You know what I mean?
Yes,
And
me too.
yeah,
And they go, just a moment, please. And then they take a cord out from your house and poke it into a hole that went to someone else's house.
yeah.
Imagine doing that with like 7 billion people on the planet now.
Thank God they figured that one out. Huh? We moved into this house. We rented this house out in Sapulpa, Oklahoma, and there was this two jacks in the room. And I went and plugged the. I'm like, oh, this is closer to the head of the bed. I'll plug it in over here. I pick it up and I hear people talking. Do you remember party lines?
Yeah, no, by accident. Yes. They
Yeah,
would
I
be
did it
like,
by accident. I'm like, what the heck?
hello, hello. And sometimes they could hear me and go, who is this? And I'd be on a party line. And other times they couldn't hear me and I could just listen to people's conversations. That is creepy.
Yeah, yeah. You could just hit the mute button really quick and like listen, but it was boring conversation. So
It was boring
I was a
conversation.
kid, so it was like,
We could have been recruited for you know who, because we
yeah,
went to early training, didn't we? Listen
right.
to everybody's conversation.
Yep, definitely.
Oh my gosh. Well, is Ronnie in the room yet? Calling Ronnie. She might
No,
come
but
in later.
I was just going off of memory. I could have swore she mentioned doing forgiveness. And shout out and love to everybody in the chat. I see a bunch of people said hi.
Hi guys, I can't see the chat because it drains my Wi-Fi and they don't have the chat on Hangouts and we use Hangouts to chat. So I'll go back in later and I'll
Oh, there's Ronnie. We were trying to remember. Did you suggested forgiveness last night, wasn't it?
was it just forgiveness or do you want something more specific?
Let's see. Yeah, in '83 in Texas, she said they had a party line.
83 is quite late, isn't it? I was thinking like
Well,
the
no,
70s.
for me
The 80s?
it was '90s.
Holy moly.
Yeah, it was like they just never took it out
You're
for
such a
us.
baby.
And I and I told my mom, I was like, I just picked up the phone in there and I heard some people talking. She goes, and I explain it like I pulled it out of this plug, put it in this plug, and she goes, oh, that's a party line. Stay off of that one.
Which we never get anymore. We
Yeah,
never ever get that on a cell phone.
that's really
Interesting.
weird. Yeah, remember the early days of cell phones? You'd get bleed over of other conversations sometimes.
No, I don't. I was living in England and I had a cell phone that was like that. It was the size of a brick and it weighed as much as a brick. And it was T-Mobile and I used that metal cell phone for 10 years. And it did nothing but text and call. And I never got any bleed overs on it. It was really clean and clear.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think it's when they went from cellular to digital that maybe it cleared that up because it used to be you could get a scanner and get a chip for it and unlock all the locked stuff, which was like cell phones and police bands
Yep,
and stuff like that, and you could listen to everything from like baby monitors to everything. That's why I would tell people, I'm like,
I heard
look,
about that.
I,
Yeah,
I, I was able to listen into so many different things. Do not
that's
leave any
creepy.
kind of
That's
open.
super creepy. You
Yeah,
drive by a house and just listen in through the baby monitors to any conversations going on.
yeah. Or you hear the little baby mobile going. I'm like, that's creepy. Because I mean,
That
if I
is,
can do that, who else is listening in? You know?
yeah, people could like drive by and use your Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
But now they're password protected, so supposedly you can't because I'm in an apartment block and there's 20 apartments and I get at least 10 clear signals right through where I live, which is not healthy,
Right.
especially with 5G coming on. Oh, that's something I noticed. We don't have any more bugs. It is the time of year that we shouldn't be exceptionally buggy
Oh, you
anyway.
mean actual insect bugs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I washed my car over a week ago and it hasn't rained and I haven't used my windshield wiper or fluid and I have zero bug guts on my windscreen and my lights. And I remember as a kid that like every week we'd have to go get gas with my dad and then we'd get a wet scraper and we'd scrape the bug guts off the headlights. Does anybody else remember doing that?
Yeah, I had to do that on my trip that I just took.
Yeah.
Oh, pagers? Yeah, I had a pager for sure. I had the simple text only pager that doctors still use them too.
Do they?
A
Do they
lot of
still
them.
use
I guess
pagers?
it just goes right through, and so it's handy. And then I had they called it the big boy pager, alpha numeric pager, where you could get like all the news and stock reports and all that
Have
crap in
one.
there. Yeah, so
Yeah, let me know if other people, you said you got some bugs on your way to Sedona, did you?
yeah, matter of fact, following
Good.
Carrie out there, it was horrible because his lights were so bright that I could see like he was barely missing the bugs and they were swooping around and getting sucked in by the draft of his vehicle and like bombarding my windshield. It was like,
Wow.
yeah, it was like horrible. I should have been in the
But
front
I'm
car.
very happy to hear that we've got bugs in different states because I'm like right on top of the Everglades here. I'm the last part with houses until you live inside the Everglades, which actually some people do, which sounds kind of crazy because of all that wildlife that's out there. It's pretty scary wildlife.
Hmm.
And just no bugs. But then it's that time of year where but we're getting down to like 75 degrees. Shouldn't you have bugs with 75 degrees? It's
Seems
not
like
that
it down
cold.
there. Yeah, it seems like it. You know what I saw on my trip to Sedona that happened so often it really got my attention were monarch butterflies.
Oh my gosh.
There
I
were
haven't
so
seen
many
one of
monarch
those in
butterflies.
like 20, 30, 40 years. I haven't seen one since I was a kid.
Yeah.
That's when I lived in Illinois. Maybe monarchs are up that way.
Now I don't mean like
Uh,
I don't mean like a flock of them. I
no,
mean
but just
like
one.
I kept thinking they were going to hit my windshield. I'd see it go across and go across and go across.
I
So it
saw
wasn't.
one in Hawaii. I did a conference. I went to a conference in Hawaii and a monarch butterfly was flying over there. One.
I even saw one down by the lane and like it had gotten hit, but it was still alive and it was like on the line of the highway, like kind of. So I was like, man, there are just a lot of monarch
You didn't stop and
butterflies.
try to save it.
No, like cruising at 75 or 80 mile an hour. So
We do down here, but we don't save butterflies, unfortunately. I wouldn't know what to do with one, but we've done pigeons and turtles and tried to rescue a hawk. That was a funny story. I think I told you my hawk story. That was scary. Like, who wants to pick up a hawk, even in a beach towel, right?
right,
Lose your fingers.
yeah, just
But
snip it right off.
yeah, I'm having real encounters with wildlife, which has something to do with my meditative, my heart energy. That I meditate. I heard you. I
Shinty
listened.
last night.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
awesome because I got the same meditation intuitively that she and Deb got. But it's a really hard one for me to do, so I haven't done it on the show, but maybe we should try it,
Yeah.
where you take cosmic energy from God, from the creative source, you run it through your head chakra, and you run it all the way down all your chakras, out of your bottom chakra and down your grounding tube into the center of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, you suck up earth energy through your grounding tube up your bottom chakra, straight through to your head chakra and out.
Mm-hmm.
So you're running two energies at exactly the same time. I liked what Shanti said about breathing it out of your heart
Mm-hmm.
because the other one where you're running the two energies for as long as you can
Mm-hmm.
hold the image of breathing in two energies in opposite directions, one's white
Mm-hmm.
and one's green or orange or red or brown because it's an earth color.
Right.
It's supposedly, because I've heard other people have come up with the same thing intuitively, and those are the people that Doreen Cannon, not Doreen, what's her name?
Dolores.
Dolores Cannon. She wrote about people who come here simply as antenna. They're like the real energy workers for just energy,
Mm-hmm.
not to heal specific individuals, but to literally take in cosmic energy, run it through their hearts, their bodies, their electromagnetic fields, and
Mm-hmm.
send it back out to the earth where all humans and animals can benefit from it.
Exactly.
Transmuting cosmic energy into an earth vibration so it can benefit all. How cool is that?
That's very cool, and it reminds me of the quantum pause meditation that we learned about with the sovereign integral process with the Wingmakers material that we looked in, where you
Yes,
would breathe in the I am and breathe out the we are, and add in the heart virtues with it,
yes. I
and
remember that.
it was talking about how you're pulling like you were just talking, like you're pulling
Calling it
from the
cosmic
cosmic,
energy.
and then you're shooting it out sideways, almost like you imagine this toroidal field around us that we have all the time,
That we do have all the
and
time.
it's strengthening it, but also blasting it outward, like Shinti was talking about, just blasting out of your heart and letting it just
So that would
encompass
be
the globe.
easy for us because we do Heart Maths Institute, heart-based breathing is
Hmm.
what we're doing. We're
And we're
doing
scattered
that
all over the
breathing.
planet, so
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
you know, that's
And
what
we're
we're.
used to that. We're used to breathing in and out of our heart. It feels natural to us now. So that would be easy to run the cosmic energies down to your heart and the earth energies up to your heart and breathe them both out.
Right.
If you can do this on your own at home, if you can run those cosmic energies through your head, through all your chakras, and out your grounding cord, and if you can at the same time run the earth energies up through your root chakra and out of your head,
Hmm.
there's probably nothing more healing in a vibratory, like frequency, vibration rate,
Hmm.
than utilizing both sources of energy at the same time
It's
to
like you're
be.
creating that current.
Yeah, yeah. And then think of the torus. The
Yeah.
torus goes out and around you like a donut.
Hmm.
And the torus also goes out and around you from the bottom like a donut. It goes both directions at once.
Yeah.
So you'd literally be feeding and healing your mind, your body, your heart, your thoughts, your feelings, and your spirit and your soul. You'd be you'd be healing and energizing everything that makes up you.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Definitely.
cool.
Not so fancy. Nancy was wondering if you're going to the fair. I believe it was. I'm trying to go off of memory here.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about the fair. Send me an email about the fair
Yeah, she said
because
her friend she's
probably
staying with
something
is
close
her friend she's staying with, or people she's staying with, are worried she's meeting a cyber friend or something.
Yes, you are. Tell them to come in tonight's group and they can see what kind of a cyber friend I am. But we can meet in a public place like a Starbucks. I always feel like I know Nancy because we've done readings. I did a reading for her and we chit chat on email. So even though I haven't met you, I feel like I know you. So I would
Yeah.
not have to be in a Starbucks to meet you, Nancy. But most people I would if I'd never chatted with them beforehand, right?
Yeah. And, don't get upset with your friend. She said, I'm not going to let them pick on my
They love
soul
you.
family or whatever. They're just wanting you to be careful, which is
They're
smart.
protecting you. They
Yeah.
love you. Yeah, they don't want you meeting some weirdo from the
Right.
internet.
Sometimes people meet people just off of a picture, but you've actually seen, our moving video faces. That would be pretty hard to fake, like over months of time, and then, actually have video of you saying what you're saying too. So it's just not somebody pretending to be you because you actually said it in a video. You know what I'm saying about?
Yeah, I guess
So
it's not like a dating service where you probably wouldn't even see the person in a video before you have to go meet them somewhere.
right,
That's kind of scary,
and they could
right?
have posted anyone's picture up there, so you just don't
Yeah,
know.
it
But
could be anybody.
yeah,
That's
that's
not me. I'm going to turn up exactly like what you're seeing on the screen right now.
it's so funny because it's like with being an Uber driver or whatever, it's like a lot of people are like afraid of the Uber driver. It's like, what if it's someone crazy? I'm like, look, they have
Yeah,
all that information. You can just download the app, give them a credit card, and anybody can get an Uber. I mean,
yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like you're more in danger as the driver than you are as the rider when it
Yeah,
comes
you're
to
letting
Uber,
strangers get in your car.
especially a lift, because they actually meet with you and you have to do like a test drive with them. They're like, now we don't want you to drive you like your grandma. We want you to drive like you're driving your grandma. And they give you this whole spiel. They take your picture and, so they're a little bit more, I guess, they both do like a background check, I believe.
They're
So,
probably no more unsafe than a taxi service or a taxi driver. They
yeah.
probably do the same level of checks as any taxi driver would
Yeah.
be. but who knows? You
But they
know,
don't for the rider. That's what I'm saying.
no, the rider isn't checked. That's
Right.
right. But
Yeah.
again, we have to just have that confidence and have that heart energy about us where we request safety and we know we get it. It's like carrying your emotion, the armor of God around you at all times.
Yeah, she
Because,
said she'll be looking for a black ball cap.
oh yeah, especially if I have a bad hair day, I'll bring it anyway, and I'll put a little red rose on it so you'll know it's me, right? Don't always wear a red flower. I'm
Yeah.
a red flower.
But yeah, you're definitely right about having that protection around you. And I don't really believe that we should ever live in fear about doing anything. I feel like something to happen. It's like, why did my phone battery die right when I was going to order that Uber? Well, maybe the guy was a mass murderer or something. Who knows? So,
Okay, well, this is interesting because it segues into what I kind of wanted to chat about a little bit tonight was my last video, and I'm sorry I haven't gotten back to the comments yet because now I don't heart comments. I write back to I try to write back to every comment, unless it's like a comment that I can't write back to, and then I'll just say thank you, you know. But the last video I did on my channel was over a week ago, is on quantum jumping, and it's looking at it from a very simplistic point of view. Instead of making it complicated and difficult, and oh my God, quantum jumping must be so hard to do, it's looking at how we quantum jump naturally as a human being, and we do it regularly because when the big decisions in life pop up and you have to decide whether you're going to marry someone or take that job across the country, those are quantum jumps in your timeline. And we do them naturally all the time. It doesn't matter what coffee you had in the morning, or what clothes you picked out to wear today. But if you made a major decision that has an impact on your life and the people you love, then that is actually shifting your reality either a lot, like when I moved to England and then decided to move back, or a little by
mm,
taking a promotion in the company. That might be a little shift as opposed to packing up your family and moving to a whole new country. That might feel like a bigger shift, but both of them have the same effect. They jiggle and shake up your timeline. And now instead of going from A to M to Z, you've already done the A to M, but now you're going off into a different timeline with a different ending because it's going to involve different people, different activities, different places. So you can't have exactly the same ending that you were going to have if you changed nothing. If you leave everything exactly the way you're doing it today, exercise, people, work, activities, then you have a pretty set timeline that you're on. But as soon as you start to shake it up and jiggle it and change things, then all the potentiality comes back into your life. And you're no longer dealing with just a few probabilities, you're dealing with many potentialities again. So we have this power as human beings to really quantum jump in our lifetimes constantly. And I've been doing it with intention, like quantum jumping on purpose. And the best way I can describe to do that briefly here, so because you guys can
call in
all,
to work and take a day off. I'm just playing this. I have to go to call in today.
that could actually change your entire life, like you
Yeah.
said before, in ways that we can't even fathom.
Yeah.
Like the missed day at work and the missed car ride or the missed plane ride and stuff like that.
And you hear about those stories, like, when it's something like a 9/11 event, and it's like, I don't know
Yeah,
why I missed my plane that day, or
the
I,
alarm
I
didn't go
didn't,
off.
yeah,
Yeah,
my alarm didn't go off and I didn't go in. And it seemed like such a small thing, but that gets back to that whole idea of a butterfly effect. Like the
yeah.
fluttering of a wing creates this avalanche of snow that
Or a
completely,
storm, tsunami.
yeah.
Like 6 months later, it creates a tsunami halfway across the world. So, one way to approach it is to do it with thought instead of just willy nilly being tossed about by the waves of life. Letting your job go wherever it goes and letting your relationships go wherever they go. You can actually think about them and give them some direction. You can give them intention. And one of the best ways to end any intention is to always say, I think it's biblical as well. You'll know where it is in the Bibles. I think it's in Romans. And that's to say something about you're requesting something for your future, which is different. than what you feel you're getting now. You feel like your future that's coming to you is not what it could be, so you're shifting it a bit to make your future more along the lines of what you would desire. And at the end of that intention, whether you visualize it or meditate on it or pray on it, it's always advisable to say, I would like to be in the future with the best possible outcome for myself and all concerned. Some people just do for themselves, and that's a little bit of a greedy intention that says, I'm only worried about how this works out for me. So the universe is going to go, we'll give that a little bit of okay? They have a right to ask for it. But then some people go, for the best possible outcome for me and my loved ones. And the universe responds and goes, oh, their request aids and helps others, but in a small community. We'll give a little more oomph to that. And then finally, there are the people who make their personal request and say, for the best possible outcome for myself, my loved ones, and all concerned, everybody concerned
Yeah.
with this request, whether it's a boss or a teacher or a neighbor or a colleague. And then the universe goes, well, hang on a minute. Their request not only benefits them, it benefits their loved ones, and it benefits everybody around that person they come in contact with. And the universe responds by giving it a lot of charge, a lot of oomph.
Hmm.
And that's where, this whole feel good, do good to feel good. The more you give, the more you receive, the service to others. This is where all the rewards come in. The more you
Hmm.
do for others, the more you get back. It's like the universe is very receptive to selflessness. And that's not even a selfless action. That's saying, I want an improved future, but not at the expense of others. It's saying, I want it to improve life for everybody, not just me.
And that's really coming from the best perspective, though, because I think anybody with the broadest perspective and the greatest love for everyone would want the best for everyone, you know?
Yeah.
So, I
They
mean, it's
would
just,
just want the best for themselves at the expense of others,
hmm,
right? Well, actually, if you look at the way 3D Earth is organized, and this is not to bring anybody down, but let's look at the reality of what we're changing, escaping, fixing. Um, right now, those who only focus on their own needs through greed are rewarded the most.
yeah.
And that's what's not acceptable anymore. That's what changes between 3D and 5D is you can't act as if you're the only person who needs to receive rewards because those people aren't going to go to 5D because greedy actions aren't going to be rewarded in 5D. In fact, they'll probably be suppressed. I imagine
Hmm.
in a 5D new earth environment if you're not doing your best for everybody concerned, I imagine it wouldn't get very far. It wouldn't be very successful.
And that's really one of the things that is such a letdown when you come to the realization that to really excel at wherever you are, you typically have to, walk over people on the rungs of the ladder of success, so to speak. You know what I mean? Throwing people under
And
the
we're not
bus, and
willing to do
that's
that.
why psychopaths are at the top in most
Yes,
positions.
yes,
You
and
know what I
that's
mean?
why our community suffers a little bit.
Yeah.
They tend to say that they suffer financially, and sometimes they suffer with health. Well, let's look at why. What are the triggers of that? Well, if you're not greedy and out for number one, you're not going to get the promotions and the extra money. That's going to make life a little more stressful, and stress causes dis-ease, illness.
Yeah.
you know so it makes sense that people in our community work harder because they're not willing to do what's necessary in terms of a cutthroat me type of environment. They're not willing to do that. They won't go there.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to change because now I think we outnumber the people who are exceptionally like sociopathically greedy. I
Hmm.
think there are more good people in the
Oh,
world now.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can really see it. Like I always bring up, like when hurricanes come out and people are willing to come out and
Yeah.
pull their boat out. And I mean, so these are people that have a boat. So it's not like they're poor, but they're just not,
They're not
bloody
super.
rich. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't know. It's like you can become. I guess one of the things that really helped me is just looking around at people that just weren't happy that seemed to have everything, and realizing that, clearly, if you can just become content where you're at, if you can get like a safe home, maybe it's not the best neighborhood, but it's safe, you're not in danger or whatever, be
And if you
content
get
with
home with
that.
some healthy food, yep,
Yeah,
clean water.
exactly. And get to the point where you have everything you need, but you're not constantly staying on the edge of, financial, loss because, like,
Hardship. Yeah.
yeah, because people typically they'll get the raise, then they'll go out and spend more money and get more debt, and then they're always at that point where if they're off work for 3 months because something happens, like they get hurt or an illness, or they have to take off to help a family member or something, it really destroys them financially because they're always living right at the edge of their means. But if you can sort of become content where you're at and stop growing while your money continues to grow, then you can actually start, not living right, paycheck to paycheck, but have a little bit back in case something happens or whatever.
Plus,
But,
we're not used to it in this country. I spent 23 years in Europe, most of them in England, a little in Germany, and then a few other countries. And they're used to it over there. They're used to their
the
tax.
cushion, you mean?
It's called democratic socialism or
Mm-hmm.
it's capitalistic socialism. They're used to working, paying their taxes, and then having their taxes give back to the community. So if they're sick, they actually are protected. They can't lose their job and they immediately get Social Security money
Oh.
to get them through the illness. We
Hmm.
don't have those protections here. They immediately get the free health care or the co-pays, like in France and Germany. Like if you go to the doctor, you pay like $50, which is not bad unless you're
Yeah.
completely
But like here, you got to seek out a charity or
yeah.
try to find help somewhere. And
So
yeah.
they're used to more community support because they work and then part of their taxes are put back into the community. We're in America, we work, but we're completely starved of the community support. We think it's evil. That's communism. Oh my God, get a job. And they've been brainwashed
Hmm.
because if you work and you earn that money, then you give it to your government to support your community. Yes, police and schools and fire and roads, but also medicine and dental. You
Yeah.
know, you can add those to the shared community rights based on the money that you're giving your government. I think one of the main things that we're going to change in 5D Earth is we're going to completely separate money from politics. If you cannot earn any more in any political position than you could earn as a teacher, a firefighter, somebody else, a policeman, policewoman, somebody else who's serving the community, working in a capacity of service, has a paycheck that goes with that. And if governments would pay up to that level, imagine the people you'd get in the public service. The problem is we call it public service, which is government, and then we're paying them with bribes and kickbacks and corporations and parties and boats
So
and
much corruption.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's not public service. Now that's private service. That's like I'm going into government to see how many kickbacks I can get. That is not public service. But if we completely remove money from politics and let them earn a public service paycheck, I'm talking the president. You want to be president of America? It's a hard job, but it's going to pay you what 50, 100,000 a year. It's going to feed you, and you're going to do it out of the love, out of dedication, love, because you're drawn into public service. Kind of like nurses are.
Hmm.
Nurses are drawn into helping people, and then they get paid the worst. You know,
Yeah.
so, and they keep the people alive. I mean, I do like some doctors, but doctors generally go into it because it's big bucks at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, when your loved one is being nursed back to health, it's usually a nurse on the end of that lifeline that's keeping them alive, you
Yeah.
know?
Thank God for the nurses. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, and teachers and firefighters and police men and women. So it's kind of like getting our priorities straight and getting money and greed out of the political system, then we would already be in 5D Earth. Then it would be a matter of let's clean up entertainment and media so it's not harmful to young minds, or let's clean up the food, let's clean up the air, let's clean up the water. But first, I think to get there, we're going to have to realize we need a system in 5D Earth where it completely separates profit, greed, and money to one side and public service and government and laws to the other side.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's going to have to go in stages. It sounds really complex how it's going to have to be pulled off to, move it from that to that. I was just talking to Jamie. We were talking about how everything from whether it's the education system, the political system, the healthcare, all of it needs to be torn down. I mean, even healthcare, think about that, because that's all connected to the pharmaceutical industry. And when you really look at it, it's the trauma part of it that really is probably pretty good, because they're pretty good about going in if you like sever your arm and like stopping the bleeding, and like a medic in the service.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like long-term care, like you have an illness, then it's like they ignore the whole holistic approach to trying to heal you and want to get. That's why I try to really like, I'll be driving a place and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go this way. I don't know why. It popped in my head. I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I don't
really,
really question it much, because you never know why it popped in
really
your head.
listen to your internal guidance system now,
Yeah.
because our internal guidance systems are just like boom, they're on target, they're clean, they're clear, we're meditating, and
Hmm.
we're getting these urges to drive to work differently, or to take a few days off and rest, and now I think most of us are brave enough to pay attention to the internal guidance system, which is coming from spirit. I think it's coming from our personal spirit. A lot of people think they're tapping into like positive energies, like guides, angels, aliens who could be in our family group. But I think a lot of this information is coming straight from us up there to us down here.
Hmm. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So you were going to incorporate something with color and.
Yeah. So, Ronnie, did you want to just have us do a meditation on forgiveness in general? Forgiveness of ourselves,
She said
forgiveness.
be as specific as possible. But I do know that, unforgiveness, whether it's towards ourselves or other people, is kind of like a missed problem, like that, is floating around out there, because, and especially towards ourselves, because many of us will beat ourselves up about something over and over and over again. We've learned our lesson from it, but for some reason we feel like we need to hang on to it and keep beating ourselves up about it when we've,
Well,
you know,
let's do that one first. Let's do a
excuse me.
meditation on forgiveness. Okay.
Yeah.
And then let's come back for just a 2-minute breather.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's do a color meditation, which is very short on quantum jumping. It's a meditation that I think will help people quantum jump who need a tool. Like some people are looking for tools because instead of just closing your eyes and going there in your mind, your heart, and then your body, and then just making it as real as possible so you can make that shift when the opportunity arises,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some people like tools, whether it's a musical or a color or other kind of like tapping. You know how people tap for
Right.
healing, you know?
Yeah.
I love tapping. I know all the tapping points too. Do you know them?
No, we need to do a show on that alone, because that's
Okay,
interesting.
next week I'm just going to do the tapping I know, and you guys let me know how you feel after it. I'll start up here and just work down
Yeah.
to the
Because
chest.
I've heard of that. That's intriguing to me. So I'd
Yeah,
love
I
to
did a
go into
short
that.
course on it. You know me. I
Yeah.
do mini courses on everything, and I become a master of nothing.
Right.
Biggest, what is it? Jack of all trades, master of none.
Exactly. That's been me my whole life. That's so funny that you said that, because I can play all the instruments, but I'm not like a Joe
Yep. I can
Satriani on
play
any of them.
piano, I can play guitar, but I've mastered none of them.
Yeah.
And I did a bit on EFT, but not enough to become an expert. So we'll do next week what I know and see if how it feels, and then
Yeah.
other people can go get a book on Amazon. There's plenty of books. I mean, I'm not promoting Amazon, but they are a source of a lot of tapping books.
Yeah. So you've had people give you a hard time about Amazon too.
Yeah, I don't like Amazon
Yeah.
personally.
I don't personally like them.
I have to use it. I really do. I'm
It's
not
like
in.
Walmart. It's like people are. I'm like, I don't like Walmart either, but I've got to go there sometimes. It's just really, I
I
don't have a choice.
try to go to Target, but is Target any better? Is it a change without a difference?
Their
You
clothes are better. I know they got Massimos
know,
and stuff
be
like that.
happier. I don't know.
I like the red. There's more red on the inside. I like the red better than the blue. I mean,
Their marketplace food has no GMOs. That's a big sign,
yeah, that's a big
right?
plus. Yeah.
So I try to go to Target instead of Walmart, but occasionally I have to go to Walmart. And I try not to use Amazon, but I do.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I need things that I cannot get anywhere except for Amazon.
Yeah.
So there you go. I'm trying not
Necessary evil at
to
this
use,
point.
but I will not go through an automatic checkout, no matter how long the lines are. People first. People need jobs. Therefore, I can't go through an automatic checkout and let the machines benefit and let the corporation. That way, the company benefits because that's one less person they have to hire. But they're not lowering the prices in
Yeah.
order to fire the employees. They're keeping the prices high and firing the employees. So my daughter's like, come on, let's go through the automat. I'm like, nope. Mm-mm. Nope, I'm going to stand in this line behind 20 people with 20 full baskets if it kills me, right?
Right. That's so funny. I think of the comedy bit with Bill Burr where he was talking about that, where he's like, you go to like a Starbucks or something, and they're like, oh well, he like I like it with cream or whatever. And goes, oh well, the cream's back there. And he goes, well, put it in there. I'm paying you for it, Or you go to get a sandwich and the pickles and condiments are all on the table, and they expect you to like, build your sandwich or whatever. And then he was talking about the self checkout lanes, and he goes, he said, "Well, evidently I work at the grocery store and my job and stuff, because he's having to check himself out." So yeah, it's really a funny thought when you imagine it.
I mean, at the airline check-in, it's all machines now,
Yeah,
and I'm like, grr, no, we need people. We do need people because that's the
yeah,
whole point of being here. If we're going to sell something, it's got to benefit people on both ends.
hmm
It's got to benefit the employees who work there and benefit the people who buy the service, not just benefit the top person at the top of the corporation with crap products that are dangerous and no employees in the line selling them or making them.
yeah,
Machines making stuff and machines checking you out. Mm-mm,
yeah.
mm-mm.
And they're getting to the point now where instead of just the regular barcode, they're going to have little RFID, tags on things where you're just going to be able to walk through the door. It's going to scan you, scan the items in your cart, and just take your money. You know what I
That
mean?
will get rid of theft, and
Yeah.
theft accounts for something like 15% of
Wow.
prices, they say. So that, but I'll tell you what, I'm not trying to be a negative Nelly here, but it's true. When they get that advanced, that there's like no theft, they're not going to knock the prices down 15%. They're going to keep it right up there.
Right, because of course the equipment costs that 15% more, right?
Exactly, exactly. Not trying to be
And it's not a person.
a moaning Myrtle tonight.
Yeah, so yeah, it sounds great. So you wanted to do the forgiveness and then move on to the other one, or vice
Yeah,
versa, or
I
however you
think
want to do it. I think is fine.
I think we'll do the forgiveness and then just come back for a minute.
Excuse
And
me.
then a minute or two, I'll click back on just to take a little break in between the two. And then try the new quantum jumping meditation to see if the tool is helpful.
Okay.
And if it's not, we never have to revisit it again. We're very flexible here. Just try out new things and see what works for people.
Yeah, I think everybody liked the vocal thing last week, so we
Oh, we
can
got to do
revisit
that
that
one
again.
again sometime. Yeah,
Yeah,
because that was interesting. Actually, speaking out loud during a
yeah,
meditation. Nobody does that. They don't exercise their vocal cords
yeah,
during meditation.
yeah.
So,
Now, what I would do is like hum a lot, just to get the vibration there. Just
hmm
a
hmm
sustained hum, and
I used to hum. I don't hum
yeah.
anymore. I should.
hmm But
Definitely.
the last thing I want is my kids hearing me from the other room. Think, oh
Mm,
man, he's really lost it back there. He thinks he's a Buddhist monk or something back there. So anyway, yeah,
really so good for you to hum, guys.
yeah,
Just hum any notes in the morning. And we did it because we're singers and it
yeah.
warms up your vocal cords so you can go and perform or get into a studio and
hmm
do a good vocal. So
yeah,
we did the humming for that, but it vibrates your third
yeah.
eye.
That's why I do it. I feel like
Yeah.
it yeah helps break up the calcium or whatever.
Yep.
So I don't
Yep.
know.
And it also vibrates your vagus nerve,
hmm
which is the nerve that Lynne McTaggart says we turn on when we're altruistic, when
Yeah.
we're praying and meditating for others. Our vagus nerve fires up. And there's nothing more healing for a physical body than an energetic vagus. Is it Vegas
hmm
or Vega? Vega.
Vegas. I think it's
Vega.
Vegas. That sounded.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it is okay. Yeah, because that's exactly what I thought about the whole leaky bucket chapter that she had on it or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah,
So humming is a really good thing to do. It also clears up sinuses. So if any of you have sinus infections or allergies like hay fever,
hmm
hum. Just put on a song and hum along to it, for three
Mm-hmm.
minutes in the morning and then see how you feel. It kind of clears everything out with the vibration,
Mm-hmm.
lovely vibration you get when your vocal cords are just doing this
Yeah.
really fast.
Do you ever
Cool.
wake yourself up by humming on accident while you're lying
Yeah,
down? Do you?
all the time now. I'm like, what the heck is that? This is new for me. Is
Oh,
that
it's new
sleep
for me too.
apnea? Is that snoring?
Yeah,
Why
it's
am I
weird.
waking myself up humming? I'll literally go, I'll be asleep, right? TV's on and I fall asleep on the couch, whatever, because I haven't really gone to bed yet. And then suddenly I'll go, and I'll just, my eyes will open up.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Me too.
Is
That's
that
funny.
new for you? Is that new?
It's new for me. Yeah, it's probably just like the last year or two.
Attention related. What the heck is going on? I've been doing it for about 6 months.
Yeah,
Anybody else out there falling asleep and then humming yourself awake?
yeah. And my wife says I do it at times that I don't even realize I do it too. It's
Yeah,
like, yeah.
it's always a low hum.
It feels like my vocal cords just engage without me doing it. Like,
And sometimes I refuse to wake up. I'm like, I am not going to open my eyes for this hum. And I go right back to sleep.
yeah.
It kind of ticks me off. I'm like, I'm not getting up now. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning and I'll be humming.
Yeah, Ronnie's saying me too. Other people chiming in here. So
There's
yeah,
ascension related to that hum, guys, because it is new. It is a new hum. And
yeah.
it's doing something. It's doing something to our brains, our pineal glands,
Hmm.
our vocal cords, our ears, our sinuses, our brain, and our vagus nerve. It literally is doing something to us while we're humming.
Totally. Yeah, I totally agree. All right, so let's get to it. I guess this is exciting.
Okay. I'm so glad you mentioned that because I've been wondering about it and nobody's ever brought it up on a YouTube video. This humming while you're asleep and waking
Yeah,
yourself
even
up.
I should have brought it up with Michelle too, since we always talk about possible symptoms and stuff that people have.
Yeah, talk about the sleeping hum. It's the
Yeah,
sleeping one while you're completely asleep, you hum and wake yourself up.
yeah, totally.
That kept disappearing. Okay, I'm going to bring the computer just a little bit closer because I notice that I tend to get a little bit quieter during the meditations, and then my voice tends to kind of disappear a little bit. So I'm going to try see if I can avoid that a little bit tonight. So we're going to do our usual, what Lynne McTaggart calls the powering up, getting ready for a group meditation or a group prayer or a group intention. And that's by taking a nice, relaxing, deep breath in and then holding it for just a few comfortable moments. And then on the exhale, let it come out as forcefully as you like, relieving you of any stress, removing any stress in the body on the exhale. And then take a nice, relaxing, cleansing breath in, hold it for a few moments, and this time exhale any worries that you might have had this week or today. And finally, we'll take a third cleansing breath in deeply, allowing our abdomens to expand with that breath. Hold it. And on the exhale, let go of any negativity around you in your home or your work environment or your community. And now you just want to breathe naturally. Just breathe comfortably in and out like you normally would. Don't do it fast, don't do it slow, don't hold your breath. And as you're breathing in, imagine that you're taking that breath in through your heart or in through your heart chakra. And some people like to put their hands over their heart while they're doing their heart breaths to remind them of where they're breathing in and out of. And exhale through your heart center. And now, as we breathe in through our hearts, we're going to imagine a beautiful color coming in with that breath from God or from source energy. Or if you prefer, you can send that color in through your heart chakra from your higher self. And we're going to exhale that color out to the world. And as we continue to breathe in a beautiful, clear, kind of cleansing color, any color that you like, that in the moment right now you feel would benefit you. On the exhale, we're going to allow it to completely fill the inside of our bodies from the top of our head to the bottom of our toes. And as we continue to breathe that beautiful color in, now on the exhale, we're going to fill a bubble of light around us, which is our protective cocoon of energetic light, while we're joining into a group to do prayers and intentions. And we're going to let that light fill up around us from the top of our heads, all around our bodies, so it's kind of egg-shaped, down under our feet, in front of us, behind us, and on the sides of us equally. And now that we're breathing in a beautiful, healing, clear color, and we've filled our bodies and a cocoon of light, a bubble of light around us with that color, we're now going to shoot a grounding cord from your root chakra, which is red at the base of your spine. Most people use silver or gold, but you can use any color you're comfortable with. We're going to send that grounding cord down from our root chakra all the way to the center of the earth. And when it reaches the center of the earth, we're going to let it spread out in all directions like the roots of a tree, a nice, strong tree, so that we are firmly grounded as we meditate together. And we're just going to continue breathing naturally now. And we're going to imagine that we're in a beautiful, clean, and safe place. This can be a place of your pure imagination, or it can be a place that you've actually visited at some point in your life. You could imagine the Grand Canyon. You could imagine a seaside, a beach, or perhaps a forest. I often just remember a large grassy hill where, as a child, we used to lay down in the grass and look at the clouds and watch the clouds and look for shapes in them. Whatever makes you feel happy and safe, that's the environment you're now placing yourself in. And from this beautiful, clear, clean, and safe place, we're now going to focus on forgiveness. And when we say the word forgiveness, do you see a certain color? Does a color pop up? If that color pops up when you think of the word forgiveness, allow that color to surround you and to fill you now. And we're going to allow ourselves to, first of all, forgive ourselves right here, right now, of any mistakes we might have made in the past that perhaps hurt somebody else unintentionally or intentionally, or hurt ourselves as well, unintentionally or intentionally. And we're going to do that by realizing that we are not perfect. We are not what we have in our minds to be angels, angelic energy, almost perfection, almost godlike. We're actually human, inhabiting these bodies temporarily in order to have a human experience in which we can grow and learn from it and bring it back into our soul group or into our future journey. We're going to realize right now that we are not perfect, therefore we do make mistakes. And some of those mistakes are more painful and more difficult to accept than others. And those are the ones we tend to hang on to. We hang on to them by not forgiving ourselves for them and by holding them somewhere in our memory. And our memory is outside of the brain and can exist anywhere in the etheric or astral body of your physical body. So there is a chance that if you have, say, a knee or an elbow that's hurting you that has not been diagnosed as arthritic or having some other kind of injury associated with it, there could be a memory attached to that joint that is being stored subconsciously. And simply by forgiving yourself now of any mistakes you may have made then, you clean the slate so you can move on. And one way that might help you forgive yourself is to tell yourself that because you forgive yourself this particular mistake that you remember, that you feel bad about, that you're trying to forget, doesn't mean that you are willing to make the mistake again. It doesn't mean that you never made the mistake. It simply means that you acknowledge, as a much higher spirit now, perhaps you've learned more, maybe you've grown more, maybe you're more in service to others than service to self at the time when you made the mistake. Time has changed you, and therefore you can look back on any mistakes that you made and say, I forgive myself now, and I love myself now, and I will not make the same mistake again going forward. I am willing to learn whatever I needed to learn through the process of making that mistake. And now I forgive myself and I forgive all others concerned with that mistake so that I can clean the slate and move on and not repeat it. I've truly, truly learned from that mistake. Therefore, as the Buddhist would say, that mistake is a blessing in disguise. It taught you something so that you don't have to repeat it again, which is why they say everything is good, because even the mistakes are good, because they usually teach you something so that you can learn how to avoid them. Now it's going to be even easier for you to imagine someone or something that may have upset you recently or in the distant past. It doesn't matter. With somebody alive or somebody who's passed on, it doesn't matter. And now, if you could just focus your energy for a few minutes on that situation or that person and forgive them. Forgive them in your heart, forgive them in your mind, forgive them out loud. If you want to say it out loud right now, say their name if you like, and just say, I forgive you and I love you. That's calling up on part of the Ho'oponopono prayers that clear and clean situations because we allow ourselves to actually forgive others their mistakes and move on, clear the slate and move on. It doesn't mean that you'll allow them to make the same mistakes again because you won't. You're wiser to that now, and you can stop it before it can actually upset or harm you. And it doesn't mean that you're going to allow others to continue to make the same mistakes with you. It means you've learned from it, and because you've learned from it, and you know how to prevent that in the future with other people or stop it with other people in the future, you're going to forgive the people who actually did it to you in the first place, who really, really upset you in the process. And now this is a really difficult part for some of us, I know. And if you're never comfortable with part of a meditation, please don't feel like you have to participate in it. You don't. You can pop in and out of the meditation, doing the parts that you agree with internally, that you resonate with, and skipping the parts that you don't. That's absolutely okay. And now we're going to shift our forgiveness to the world and to the planet, to Earth, because Earth is a beautiful, healthy, abundant, bright, loving place. And we don't need to forgive Earth, but we do need to forgive other Earthlings, other humans who perhaps in their lifetimes on the shared Earth, the shared planet, have done things that have resulted in harm to other people, perhaps to ourselves, perhaps to our loved ones. I'm talking about pharmaceuticals and education, good teachers, okay teachers, great teachers and then really bad teachers that need to be forgiven from our past. If they made us feel small or stupid or in any way inadequate, we need to forgive them now. And we can do that by saying, we know that at the time you did the best that you could do at that time. I forgive you. I love you. Clear it, clean it, and move on. It does not mean that you will ever allow anybody to make you feel that way again, because you won't. You're not the same person now who experienced that then. And maybe we need to forgive some of our government leaders, some of our banking leaders, our corporate leaders, our energy leaders, and say that right now, in a system that rewards the greediest and rewards the most powerful people with the most money and rewards the greediest people with the most money with the most power, it's kind of a self-feeding system, that perhaps they've lost touch with their humanity in service to others. Perhaps they need the greater healing, and perhaps they need the blessing so that they can heal the excessive greed, the excessive need for power, this excessive self service that appears to be going on around us in these larger societal, systematic frameworks. And we have to forgive them and love them as human beings, as extensions of ourselves, because we're all one here. There is actually one humanity, and we are all parts of it. Just like there is one body that you are in right now, and there are a lot of different cells in that body contributing to it. That's kind of how humanity works. There's one humanity, and we are all the individual cells inside humanity making it work. So if we can, let's forgive those who have perhaps abused their power for whatever reasons, and really send them love and blessing so that they can heal and stop abusing the systems, so that they can heal and start operating from a heart-centered place like we do, so that they can heal and they can start operating in service to all instead of in service to self. And now we're just going to be quiet so that you can send any forgiveness and love, because with forgiveness, it always comes love. Love comes with forgiveness. They're kind of a package. And just send that to anybody, anywhere who you feel really, really needs your forgiveness and your love. And when you're ready, just start to breathe, normally, nice, comfortable pace. And just move around a little bit. Move your shoulders up and down, stretch your neck, move your feet, and start to come back. And allow your grounding cord to be released from your root chakra into the earth where it just disappears. So I'm coming back for a few minutes.
All right, right on.
I can hear you now.
Cool.
Yeah, I
Wonderful.
got warm on that one. Warm hands, warm neck.
That's funny. I got chills during your
You?
silence and sending it out. I felt, yeah, chills come over me. So it's pretty cool.
Wow. I think at least on earth, we need a lot of forgiveness. We need to practice forgiveness a lot. A lot. It's very healing.
Almost daily with little things, but some big things we can carry for years, and Man, it almost hurts us more than the other person because it's just sitting there eating us alive. And
Yeah,
sometimes
somewhere.
people don't know. Of course, people do know a lot of times they've done you wrong, and but it still hurts you more than it hurts them to hang on to that and let it, eat you up. And then,
That
of
is true
course,
that the one person who benefits the most from your forgiveness is you.
yeah,
You definitely allow yourself to heal when you forgive yourself and others
hmm,
and kind of recognize they're not perfect. If they were perfect, they wouldn't be here. They made their mistakes and now I learned from it. It's not going to happen again. And now I've got to forgive so I can move on. Yeah.
and it's good to put it in perspective when you think of, if it's someone hurting you, think of the mistakes you've made and understand no one's perfect. But then the other way around, when you've made a mistake and you're having a hard time forgiving yourself, to think, everybody's made these types of mistakes. You're never the only one to make even a
Yeah.
specific mistake.
I'm pretty upset about some of the mistakes that I've made in relationships, especially as a teenager. And I got to just say, I'm glad that I don't do that now. I'm glad that I learned from it.
Hmm.
So what a great way to learn from something is learning through the mistake. There's a great scientist, I'm not sure which one it was, who said our schools are failing because they teach children that failure is bad. And at least in the scientific community of exploration, failure is a good thing. You try it over and over and over again. And if you've tried it 100 times, you've found 100 ways that it doesn't work, which narrows down the path of what does work.
Yeah,
So we need to teach the kids it's okay to fail. It's okay to get the answer wrong because then you get to learn how to answer it correctly.
yeah. Even if it's like, man, I should have studied or read that before that test. You know what I mean? Even if it's something small like that. But yeah, it's like any successful business that we see today had a string of failures. So the main thing
Yeah,
is not to give up after a failure, to continue on and see, well, that didn't work. Let's try something else. And
because failure is a part of success.
yeah,
It's not the opposite of success.
yeah,
It's not failure. Failure is a part of it. It's a part of the process
yeah.
of getting to success is failing along the way because you're just literally trying out different things and finding out what doesn't work.
I think there was a saying that was something like that, where it was like, failures are just stepping stones to success, or something along those lines, which is,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
they are.
yeah.
What a beautiful thing to teach children instead of testing them and testing them and testing them and going, you failed, or judging them against each other. They all compare their position of how many they got right. And that means that the other person's smarter. Well, maybe not. Maybe that person studied and you didn't, or maybe that person is better at that naturally and you're better at something else. But children tend to judge themselves very harshly based on failure. So
Very true.
do not fail. Do not fail. Don't answer a single thing wrong in this test because then you're a bad person. Mm-mm.
But it's experience, which is really what it's all about. It's
It
getting out of
just
that mindset of bad and good, and
public
you're
education system is not very creative. It's not intended to produce creative, caring people. That can't be its purpose, or it wouldn't be based 100% on testing
yeah.
like it is now. I was shocked when I went to high school. It wasn't like that, but I'm old.
You think it's getting worse?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Having a daughter who just graduated from high school. High school is based 100% on tests. The tests have tests. And then, college had the tests as well, but that was to see whether you got enough of the information to actually get the credit for the class. And they've kind of now taken those college procedures and thrown them into high school and middle school. And what it's done is these kids are not even prepared for that level of information to be tested and grilled on it constantly because then the teachers teach for the tests. Have you noticed that? Or you don't have anybody in high school right now? They
I noticed
literally,
that. I think it was during the Bush era when they had No Child Left Behind, or one of those, and it's like the teachers completely shifted to being able to pass that test because that's what everything was based on,
yeah.
and they started neglecting like art and music more.
So the teachers teach how to pass the test. And it used to be the teacher would fail and not get the pay raise if their students didn't pass. So now they've taken the information away from the teachers. I know this sounds crazy. At least this is how it works in Florida or in southern Florida. and the teachers don't know what's going to be on the test. So the teachers are panicked because the kids could fail just because they didn't teach the right geometry or
Mm-hmm.
the right algebra or the right biology. So one test was so bad that on these A plus schools, all the kids failed the December midterm. And it was bringing the kids' grades down and making the whole county look like it was failing in math. So the county did the smart thing and threw the test out. But they only threw it out for the regular kids, the kids who had Algebra 1. And they said, obviously, even the teachers couldn't pass this test. It had nothing to do with what was taught in this county for freshman year Algebra 1. And they forgot to throw it out for the kids who were struggling, who had 2 hours of algebra a day. So they covered the same material as Algebra 1, but they did it in 2 periods. And they got stuck with those tests. So I went through the school hierarchy, got nowhere because it was close to summer. Nobody wanted to deal with this at the end of, the year when the results came back. And I went straight to the top of the county education system and spoke to the superintendent, and never actually got to speak to her. And she bumped me down to the person in charge of math. And they sat down with me and said, what's going on here? And when I explained it to him, he said, my God, he said, that's an oversight. Of course, we wouldn't want to punish the children who struggle to do math by making them keep. This was a Tallahassee test. You could either take your test from Washington, D.C., or from the state capitol. And they opted for a state capitol test on algebra to see whether the kids passed and whether the teachers passed. And he removed it immediately. He removed it from all of the algebra classes where the kids were struggling because they were being penalized by keeping this horrible test in their grades so that they would all have to repeat algebra next year. So, wonderful. It was a great experience for me to see that there are people in the education system who do care, who will listen to you, and who will make the changes. You just have to get to them. That's the hard part. You just have to find the people who are willing to listen, who are powerful enough to make the changes, and then they do.
That's good.
Yeah.
Being persistent. You got somewhere. I didn't have
For the whole
similar.
test, they dropped the whole test because of me for an entire county in high school. But that test should never have been there in the first place
Right.
because teachers didn't know what was going to be on it. So how could they prepare their students for it if they don't know?
Yeah. I totally get it.
So that's what our kids are up against now. They're up against standards that are falsely high and are all based on, can you pass this test? It doesn't matter what you've learned in the year. Can you answer these questions that somebody sitting at a computer in a state capital or Washington, D.C. decided to put down on paper? How arbitrary is that? You know?
Yeah.
So
Without even considering the curriculum they were going through that year and stuff. So, yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
it's got to go. There's counties in New York and there's Lee County in Florida are voting. Parents have voted to do away with standardized testing. Is that what it's called? And you can be tested by your teacher. It's going back to old school. The teacher teaches the subject and then tests you on it because they know what they taught you. And getting away from the standardized testing from Washington, D.C. or your state capital because they don't know what you learned in the class. You
Yeah.
know,
And
they're
every
not,
school's different. So,
every school's different.
yeah.
And bureaucrats should not be testing children. Really.
Yeah. Yeah. Amy B saying, yep, people that have no interest are in charge.
Hey,
That's
Amy.
funny.
Yeah, exactly. And I've noticed that because I had a nursery school in a couple of different countries, a couple of different nursery schools, not just one, that the bureaucracy with running a nursery school is huge. And sometimes the bureaucrats do a good job of protecting people, and sometimes they make really stupid changes just for the sake of a change. It's like, somebody's sitting there making a big salary, thinking, what can I do this year to change how nursery schools are operated in this country? And they make random changes that affect the staff and the children in a really negative way. So bad that the nursery staff are running around with a clipboard 24/7 and can't physically play with the children, catch them when they're going to fall, build blocks with them. because they're tied to their clipboard and they have to write down every 5 minutes what words that child learned, what physical actions that child took, the nappy changing, the hiccups, the burps, the sleep time every 5 minutes. These women in England are literally running around with clipboards in their hands instead of children in their hands. It's just true.
Oh gosh, yeah, that sounds ridiculous, but
They call it the nanny state. In England, it's a little bit worse than it is here still, but we're getting there, where the government, Big Brother, is watching every move you make while you do your job. So, that's where you have to write it all down and prove it all every moment, what you've done, the moment after you've done it. So, therefore, you can't do your job anymore because you're only doing a recording of what you just did. Instead of doing your job, you're recording what you did a minute ago, you know?
yeah.
Kind of ironic.
It'd be funny if it wasn't funny, you know. I mean, if it was, it'd be
It kind of
laughable if it.
Monty Python
It's
sketch, doesn't it?
yeah,
That well. Just imagine all these women running around with clipboards and no children, and the children running amok at their feet because they're so busy documenting what they're doing, they can't actually do their job anymore.
yeah.
It is. It's kind of chaos. That's it. Yeah, it's like in order to get to our new place, our new world, we
Hmm.
have to go through some kind of chaos that breaks down the old first.
Yeah,
It's
I
kind of
totally agree.
yeah, when a cell dies, that cell literally has to like decay and be reabsorbed so that the new cell can burst forth in its place. It's kind of the same thing with systems, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the whole adage: no pain, no gain.
You know who did a great video? You guys check out Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bruce Lipton on YouTube. He does 5-minute videos where he turns up like as a superhero and he just literally talks about breaking down the old, making room for the new. And he's like, gets really excited when he sees systems fail. He's like, yes, this is great. This means we can really replace it with something far more humanitarian.
Yeah.
Well, since we're coming up like on 2 hours, I'm sorry, this one's getting super long. Should we go do the quantum jumping
Yeah,
color?
let's do it.
Is there anybody left in the room who wants to do it, or we could do it next week?
Let's see. No, there's 84 people here. 85, it says.
Ready for a double meditation? We've never done that before.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, guys, here we go. I don't know if it's going to work, so you guys let me know. It's another test. It's an experiment like last week's
I
where we
like
just
experiments.
yeah, it's fun, isn't it? Okay. So this one we'll try to do a little bit quicker because we've already done our big meditation for the week, for the night, except for our personal meditations, which are probably daily. So we're just going to take a nice, deep cleansing breath because our body will immediately recognize that you want to get into the relaxed, meditative, slightly open state of mind, heart, and body. So hold it for a few seconds and just exhale. We've already cleared our bodies of negativity and stress. That's all gone. Take another cleansing breath in. Hold it for a few seconds. It helps with the relaxation, oxygenation, and exhale. And finally, we'll just take a third nice, relaxing, deep breath in. Hold it for a few moments and exhale. And now we'll go ahead and put a grounding cord down, which is always just a smart thing to do when you're meditating, from your root chakra all the way into the center, deep, 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 deep down into the center of the earth, where when it reaches the center of the earth, it just kind of spreads out in all directions like the roots of a tree, firmly grounding you. And because we enjoy the heart breathing so much, let's just take a few comfortable breaths in through our heart chakra and out of our heart chakra. No colors yet. Just breathe in through your heart chakra and exhale out of your heart chakra at a pace that is comfortable for you. And now, when you take that breath in through your heart chakra, I just want you to relax and think about one thing that you would like to be different in your immediate life. It could be a change in your environment. It could be a change at work. It could be a change in a relationship or a change of relationship. It could be increased finances. It could be finding a job that really serves your higher purpose and fulfills your needs to feel useful, like you are actually doing what you came here to do and what you enjoy doing the most. It could be anything at all. It's just one thing that if you could quantum jump at will from this reality, which you love and appreciate, into a slightly different version of you, but with your same loved ones around. You don't have to sacrifice anything when you quantum jump. Everything stays with you that's important to you. What would that one change be? Now try to picture it in your mind's eye or try to hear it. What does it sound like? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Imagine that change already having taken place now, starting from now. What does it feel like? How does it make you feel knowing that that change has succeeded and has been made, has been achieved? And are there any colors associated with it? What color, what one color or group of colors or rainbow, you choose, would best represent that specific change, positive change in your reality? And now, like a shower curtain, I want you to place that color right in front of you, just an arm's reach away. Just look at it like it's a curtain of light. And now take a deep breath and step into it. In your mind's eye or in your imagination, take one step forward into the color. It's like a color bath. It's now shining all around you. You and the color have merged. It's running through your body. It's running over your body. It's running under your body. And this color that you've stepped into represents 100% the change that you wish to see in your lifetime, in your reality, or in your timeline. And now thank the universe for the change that has come to you now that you have requested, so long as it has the most positive outcome possible for you, your loved ones, and all concerned. And state clearly in your heart or your mind or out loud that if this change in any way harms or is negative to you, your loved ones, and all concerned, you wish not to make that change and to actually let it go and to not long for it, but to let it go because you instinctively know it wasn't meant to be for a reason. And that's okay because there's a million other changes that you can desire and like and create this shower curtain of light that you can step into. And know that your higher self and God will guide you into that change occurring now, immediately, which means that it was positive for you, your loved ones, and all concerned, or the change not coming to you at all because you requested it not to, should it have any negative consequence for you, your loved ones, or all concerned, or any concerned in that change. And now you're happy with it. You're going to let it go. That's the part of allowing that people like Abraham talk about all the time. And people struggle with what is the allowing? What does allowing mean? It means to let it go now and allow the creative universe, your higher self, and God to bring it about or not, depending on what would be best for you, best for your loved ones, and best for everybody concerned with it. So we're going to let it go with love and gratitude and just a really good feeling that we've done everything in our power to make that quantum jump into a reality that would include something very, very important to you right now and right here. And when you're ready, you're just going to let your grounding cord go back into the earth where it just disappears. And you're going to start to move around a little bit. You're going to let that color go. And when you're ready, just come back. So I don't know. I was doing that right before you came on, wasn't I, guys? I was doing this. The chain comes on doing this.
Stretching.
My neck. It's like, oh. So let me know how that, if that helps. You can do this all the time to use a tool to help you quantum jump. It makes it visual in your minds, in your imagination.
Very good. We're all quantum jumpers here, so
We are great quantum jumpers here.
that's awesome. So yeah, I feel very relaxed now. That one was very relaxing to me.
I was in yellow. What color were you in? For some reason, bright yellow popped up as my curtain of color, and I just stepped right into it.
Mine was purple or violet.
Ah, so yours was up here and here,
Yeah.
and mine was the solar plexus color, life energy. I
Yeah,
didn't even specifically ask for anything. When I'm doing group meditations, I never ask for something myself. I'm going to have to go back, listen to it, close my eyes, and ask for something.
that's so funny because, I'm unbiased and on the fence about it. I'm like, I don't know, whatever I need done, do it
Oh,
for
you
me.
just like let the universe decide, didn't you? You were like, whatever it is,
Yeah,
let it come to me now.
right. Anytime I get too involved with anything, I seem to screw it up. So I just leave it to my higher self to,
That is just smart. That is like the
just,
best of the best come to you. Not narrowing your options by only seeing this far instead of that far, right?
there's really a freedom to that. You know what I mean? Not to get too invested in how things are going to play out and what you need to do. Just trust that you'll do what you need to do and be led the way you need to be led and all of that. I mean, there's really a freedom in letting go of having so much control over the unknown because I don't know. It's just there's
It's
too
just
many
rewarding.
factors.
Right? Yeah, it's like if you try to control everything in the future that isn't known, it's very worrisome. That's a big job.
Yeah,
But if you can let that go to your higher self and to the higher powers that be, then you can just step back and enjoy it and know that the best will come to you.
yeah. Trusting.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for me, it's like looking back and seeing how things have played out in my life and being like, I see how things were orchestrated looking back on it, and I just trust that things will continue to happen that way. So,
I'm in a super trusting mode as
yeah,
well right now. I think it comes with this work that we're doing in our community, and it comes with meditating. You
yeah,
just become more comfortable and more trusting.
yeah.
Cool. Well, if you guys want to do that one again, please let me know. We'll do more stepping into colors. And if you want to do more spoken out loud, learning how to command your universe, your reality, your bubble, or ask if asking feels more comfortable, we'll do that one again.
Yeah. They're saying
Maybe,
to make it rain in California and,
uh,
or just destroy
I've
the
been seeing
lasers if they
weird
exist.
stuff on California. Okay, we can't really go into this, but the two things that I've caught this weekend were coming from like Metal Rabbit and a couple of other people.
Yeah.
And it was showing that this radiation from Fukushima is at such a high level now in California that they almost suspect that this is by design to get people moved out of these areas. And then somebody else said that there's some major railroads going through there that they just literally needed to move people out of major areas for railroads. But railroads to where?
Yeah.
Where would those railroads
But
go?
if they were doing that, they're certainly not keeping human life as a priority because people are dying, and you know, if
Yeah.
so
Well, there's this also this conspiracy of moving everybody away from the countrysides into large cities so that they have more control over the masses. Should the masses decide they want a new government, well, they're very highly concentrated in areas that can be easily controlled. So I don't know. I don't like to dwell on the negative, so let's just let it go. And next week, let's just do a meditation for the highest possible outcome for all people, in California and in the United States. Let's like focus um, on this part of the world next week. Let's do that. Let's do California and the United States next week so that the best possible outcome for all concerned occurs.
yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And let the universe decide how that plays out.
Hmm.
Once we've requested it, it's ours, and now we have to let the universe decide how that comes about.
Exactly. Yeah, because things are suspicious. I'll say that much.
Very suspicious in California.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel right, look right. And the other thing is we could try that really complicated one next week too. We could maybe put them into one meditation where we're bringing cosmic energy in through our crown chakra,
Yeah.
shooting it down the chakras, out the grounding cord, and then we'll start to suck up energetic electromagnetism from the earth, and that'll come up the grounding cord all the way through our chakras and out the crown chakra. And then we'll let the energy just move both ways. And then it'll spill out of our toroidal fields,
Hmm.
and it'll energize and clean us, our families, our homes, and the world,
While connecting us to each other too. So that's a
while
beautiful
connecting
thing.
us to each other too. It's really, if you can watch some videos on the torus and the human toroidal field, you'll just be amazed at how this energy is cyclical. It's the only pattern in physics that is self-propelling through infinity. The torus field feeds itself always.
Hmm.
It never stops. It never runs out. Like, how they say energy has entropy and eventually it fizzles out? Not if it's in a toroidal field. It doesn't fizzle out. That's us.
Sounds good. And yeah, if anybody wants to join in with a meditation tonight at 11 for rain, you can do that. They're saying that they posted something on Facebook, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, join
All
in on that. That'd be
right.
cool.
Eastern time?
Let's see. Will that be about an hour away from now,
Yeah, I'll
Eastern?
do it.
Or you can just do it in your own time zone. Or California time would be what?
11, 10, 9, 8. 8 p.m.
Okay.
because it's
So it'll be
Eastern.
8 for you, right?
8 for California, 11 for me.
Okay.
Because
It's
it's eight,
8.
it's 3 hours earlier there, isn't it?
Well, if we do it at 11 for the California time, then it would be
Oh, 11, 12, 1, 2, 2 a.m.
2 a.m. for you, 1 a.m. for me, midnight Mountain Time.
Yep, there you go.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay,
So yeah, probably California time, I would think.
okay. No, that makes sense. I'd pick it for California time.
It would be like 9 or 10 if you're in Hawaii or something. I think they're a couple time zones earlier than California.
Seriously, if Fukushima has poisoned the water and the air that badly, people don't want to be there. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that's a good reason for the fires, but they don't want to
yeah,
go back. They don't
yeah,
want to go back and rebuild. They need to find cleaner, safer, healthier places to live if it's that bad.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, post what Facebook group that is because
Okay,
yeah, I was
got it. Somebody's got it.
yeah, and yeah, that sounds good. So I guess we will reconvene next week.
Yeah, next Saturday, and we're going to do maybe California and the United States for highest possible outcomes,
Yeah,
and then maybe try moving the energy both directions at the same time. See
yeah.
what that feels like.
Yeah, because I'm sure. Yeah, it's good. Let's see, it's gonna be like basically the day after Black Friday with all that energy going on, and
Oh,
we
I'm
need
going
to
to tell
spread
you
some
what
light.
happens when I do it, okay? When I do it, I blow electrical circuits everywhere. Telephone, gone. Wi-Fi, gone. Television, gone. Walk into a grocery store, the register stops working as
Uh
soon as.
oh, that's not gonna be good for Black Saturday.
Exactly. So when we do this, we really need to ground ourselves really, really well. And everybody keeps telling me, you're doing it wrong if you're blowing all the electrical circuits. I need to get out and like walk barefoot on the earth. I need to reground and kind of lessen the electrical charge. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're going to get such a boost out of running energy both directions.
Hmm.
So, who was it? Was it Shanti? If you could send her an email and tell her we're going to do it live next week, see if she wants to pop in and do it. And I think Deb, I'll tell Deb,
Okay.
because those are the two who mentioned last night that they also have been getting internal guidance to do these kinds of meditations.
Yeah. And I'll bring it up next Friday night as well. So
And
so
then if you start blowing electrical stuff around you, it's because it's shoddy. It's like especially those energy saving light bulbs, they'll just go out all around you
uh-oh,
because they're
that's what
not
I've
like
got all
solid.
around me.
Yeah, yeah, especially street lights. You know, the street lights will flicker and then go out because they're just not high quality. They're not very grounded. And just tell people, hey, my heart energy is so big right now that I'm creating my own electrical field. And it's stronger and more powerful than any of these other electrical fields that these little things throw out constantly. So that's not a bad thing, is it? It just means you can't communicate on this or the Wi-Fi for a while.
We'll have to use the non technological
Mm,
communication, the mind, right?
yep, yep, yep. That's
I'm
coming next.
ready. I can't wait for, you
I'm
know, because I know we can do it, you know. I mean, how many
ready
times do we
to do
get
it
little hints of us doing it, like when you're about to reach for the phone because you feel somebody's about to call you or whatever, you know, and
all the
so,
time.
yeah, or you feel your kid in trouble or whatever. You're like, I had a feeling, you know. I think that's going to get stronger because it's there.
What if that's what our humming is? What if while we're sleeping, we're communicating with each other and then we start to talk and we just go, we hum?
And then wake
That
ourselves up.
wakes us up. Yeah, there's something to that. It might be communication. Yeah,
Definitely.
it might be.
All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving to everybody because we do have that between now and next week.
Yep.
So
Happy Turkey Day, everybody, if
for those
everybody's
in the
eating turkey.
States,
And vegetables for vegetarians.
yeah.
Happy Vegetable Day. Happy Squash Day.
Yeah, definitely. Well, lots of love to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much again for joining me, Eileen. Lots of
Thank
love to
you,
you.
Jane. I love you, and I love you guys. Mwah.
Love you too. Love you guys. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye. Peace.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.